COD thoughts were a thing I used to do, huh? Modern Warfare, I have avoided it. It's been fun playing some of the classics. That seemed like the better option over being a bitter old man pooping on people's hype for the new game they might be excited about, because it's fun to share an excitement, not fun to be a whiner. Although hating on COD can certainly be a successful formula. As a warning up front, if you found your way here but have no clue who I am or don't care, well, this is going to be more about where I'm at with the old Call of Duty. It's not details on the upcoming game, I'm not breaking down the latest trailer or anything. Basically, I still see many people who think I might be covering this next game like everything's normal, or just wondering, so I guess I should say something. Sorry if it's disappointing to hear, but I regret to inform you, I meant what I've been saying thus far, and am still not feeling it. Nothing about this game specifically, just what Call of Duty is now, and I guess multiplayer most of all. I could see trying some other parts at some point, like that DMZ thing, maybe, if that was supposed to be part of the free stuff. I don't know, very ignorant, and I'm loving being this out of the loop. But yes, I've not enjoyed the continued pattern of the past 3 years. 3 whole years I gave it, looking for any hint of a change in direction, or more transparency in some areas. Most recently with Vanguard, I went into it saying that I would try kind of fully giving up on caring about the gameplay to see if I could enjoy only focusing on the progression stuff. But when even that keeps seeming hopelessly messy or maybe even manipulative like everything else, goddamn, get me out of here. This is clearly no longer the game for someone like me. So now I see it as cycling back around to the game that kicked off this 3-year phase of COD. I guess that could mean this is where they make some bigger system changes and there's a new phase, but I really don't care to give it that chance anymore. At the same time, I do know it should be a very popular game. It would no doubt be popular to cover it. There are large masses who adore Modern Warfare 2019 and are no doubt excited for the return. I remember how I went into that year, actually with some excitement. I was really gearing up to love it. It did look good. The engine stuff and attention to detail in a lot of areas. I like the grounded modern setting. I love the original trilogy. They were saying things that sounded good to me. My man Captain Price is going to be there. I actually kind of care about these characters. Oh my god. Well, now I look back on that year as the game that really kicked off my negative experience with a frustratingly broken, letdown husk of a co-op at launch that I was kind of buying into the hype for, silly me, and with multiplayer proceeded to ultimately destroy both the gameplay and progression that I tend to look for. I know I'm in the minority there, don't worry. Certainly not alone either, but I know it's a popular game for a reason, and I assume that popularity kept everything working similarly for the 2 years following. If you loved that game, I totally get how you'd be excited for this upcoming sequel, maybe to deliver you from the past 2 years that you might have not liked as much. They certainly didn't seem as popular or fresh. Vanguard taking a real dump, even though it didn't feel that different to me. That is before it felt like Omega fell apart with some Season 1 issues. I have no clue what happened after that. I have to assume no incredible redemption arc. Now this should all come as no surprise. The final Vanguard video I made, earning the camo, went pretty in-depth on my fatigue with the current systems and I suppose with the franchise in general. I mean, it's about time I get to that point after a decade and a half. After that video, I disappeared for a few months, kind of let it sit there. If anyone came wondering where I went, they'd hopefully find that as the answer. And then I believe in the big Spec Ops comeback and the BO4 thing after that. I brought it up again, both times, my disinterest in the cycle of another new COD. I think I referred to myself as a retired YouTuber, so in my head I've been pretty consistent in hinting at normal COD coverage won't be continuing. But here we are to all get on the same page. I did kind of leave it open-ended each time. I didn't want to make a big dramatic show of it, and still don't. It's not like I ever said, I'm quitting COD forever! Because, well, that's quite the cliche. COD man doesn't like COD. Good for you, bud. See you next year. But what if I actually meant it? Yeah, it is an exhausting cycle. I can't help but shake my head whenever I see some comments and replies, not on my stuff, just on like COD Twitter or some other videos of someone like, yeah, haven't been enjoying the game much these past few years. This is their last chance for them to do something about the prestiging, the matchmaking. It's year 4. How many chances do you give? That may sound like hypocrisy for me to say, but well, I guess I give 3 chances. That's a fair number of chances. 3 years of this newest formula. Visit each studio before feeling like I'd be too much of a fool to continue. And that's in my unusual situation of covering the game. If that's not you, then I hope you don't feel stuck with the game for any reason. I know familiar things are comforting, I guess, but try branching out for real. So many great games out there. In my situation, I've always said that regardless of the negatives and critiques over the year, I get my value out of the games in terms of time entertained, or mainly in terms of the enjoyment I get sharing things, making the videos. And that has always been true. So I kept getting them. Well, maybe that's finally ended. The enjoyment does get smaller whenever I have to spend more time bringing up the old complaints, because that's not fun. It's not like I have to defend the game, of course, that's not my job. I think I remember talking about this in that Vanguard camo thing. Yeah, plenty of people will back you if you say COD sucks, but at the same time, I'm still playing it. So to not be a total hypocrite, I do have to rationalize to myself, as much as other people, why I'm still playing, why it's worth sticking around. I have to explain why the fun still outweighs the frustrations. And I guess I've been running out of reasons, so I can no longer justify it. And I have to be honest about that, or these thoughts videos would be worthless. So I am sorry if you wished things would just continue as normal, but I don't know what to say. It's like it's not even a choice I'm making. I literally can't do that unless I just full committed to lying and faking it. Sounds painful. Also wouldn't want to become a channel dedicated to hating the game. I guess that's option 2. Maybe that prints money, but it seems so meaningless and unfulfilling. If it stops being fun, stop buying into it. I intend to stand by that. So then there's option 3. Maybe do something else. I really can't keep talking about all the old favorites, like unsatisfying seasonal prestige challenges, or the controlling matchmaking. Being negative sucks, and making the same tired points is silly, because they should be easy to predict at this point. I know some people may still be happy to hear them, but to me it's bad content, it's boring, it's annoying, and there's a lot of talking past each other. Like for the matchmaking thing, I've never faced much of any resistance, because I guess people this deep in the community tend to agree, but I know there are some people who would see people like me as the villains, as if I'm just some pub stomper who wants the noobs to suffer, like I just want easy lobbies, even when I'm nowhere near that good. So it would more so just mean more mixed and random lobbies, and some form of SBMM is not my core issue. I see the benefits. The problem was that it seemed to actually be taking the form of some kind of engagement optimizing manipulation that makes the whole exercise of playing feel pointless to me. Like my success is not my own, because it would sometimes give you easy lobbies too, but that's not what I care about if it all feels artificial. This could even all just be a paranoia at this point, but the whole topic is shrouded in such a mystery that it's hard to get past that feeling. I just want to jump in and be measured against random people. It's not about gatekeeping the casual mess that is COD, or wanting to stomp all the time. I want new players to have fun, to try out the game and not hate their time, but I guess I'd have different ideas for what the best onboarding strategy would be. And at the end of the day, I just have a different philosophy for what I get out of multiplayer games. Because I tend to like to get very invested in only 1 or 2 games at a time. I like to learn all there is to learn. I'm never going to be all that great at the raw skills, like I don't practice or drill or anything, but I like to know all the tips and tricks, invest a bunch of time, improve, and become an expert. And then I like to teach that, to share what I've learned. It used to be more of a Wild West where that made sense. You get better, you do better. Now it does feel less set up to reward improvement, more to just make you feel okay with however you're doing. Because of course it's not an actual competitive game, there is no rank, but I'm sure it's smart with how many games out there are now competing for your attention, and how most people are not like me. A lot of people just want to hop on for a couple games and do okay. Not think about it, instant gratification, not invest the time. Unfortunately, that does come at the cost of making the game feel kind of pointless to people like me. It's hard for this to not come across as an elitist take, but all I can say is I honestly enjoy the journey. The process of going from bad to good is the reward for me, is the fun, is the game. Looking back, I think games are always more fun when I'm starting out. I'm bad. I'm learning everything, and every little accomplishment is still a big deal. It's the same sort of fun I can get from teaching a game I know very well to someone who's new, kind of getting to see it fresh through their eyes. Like the way I check on myself to know that I really believe that and I don't secretly just want to pub stomp, even though again I'm really not that good. In other games with very basic or even no matchmaking, like maybe you just pick a server, even in games where I suck, where I'm certainly below average and I get destroyed, I still like it that way, because I know I just started. I didn't expect to do well right away. I shouldn't. I haven't earned it. The people who have spent 5 years on the game should be way better. If I was instantly having the same experience as them, why would I bother continuing to get into a game like that? I like knowing that it's all on me to improve. I could climb that leaderboard of random players and be the guy at the top. I can look up videos, I can learn. That's the whole point to me. I don't want to be doubting if I'm getting better or if the game is just deciding I should have a good game to keep me playing. I would definitely rather just go find an actual competitive game at that point, where your reward for improving is made clear by your rank. When I started out with COD, I had that stinger on a bunch of classes, because I was bad, and shooting down UAVs was a good way to get some extra points and help the team. And if I ever earned a care package, oh yeah, 4 kills, that was epic. What am I gonna get? The dopamine of seeing that AC-130 pop up? Oh man, My expectations for how good I should do obviously started at the bottom, so I enjoyed every little improvement, and I would feel robbed of that experience with this system. But I know that's not most people's attitude towards games. Most people don't make games a core part of their life, so why would you care about any of this? Manipulative matchmaking? What the hell are you talking about, dude? If you have no interest in working towards being that guy at the top, you probably never want to run into that type of person in your game. I guess it makes sense that a ton of people who grew up with gaming being as huge as it is are now older with more responsibility, don't have the time or interest or patience for the improving over time, and just want to play a game for an hour and do okay. So, fair enough. I'll get off this, but I guess lastly what I hated most was the zero transparency. It always felt like such an evil secret, which fed into believing the engagement optimizing stuff. Even if there were hardly any truth to that, the seeds are planted, and it's very gross to feel like they're trying to control your fun just to keep you on. Yeah, get me out of there. I guess I get how they can't say much without it blowing up in their face, but it sure is frustrating. There are other companies that go to great lengths to spell out their goals, philosophies, and data, which I can really respect and get on board with. I know that level of communication takes a lot of work, but I do enjoy feeling like we're on the same team. Yeah, the existence of some form of SBMM was never my core issue, even if I didn't realize that right away. In any case, enough rehashing that garbage. Bottom line, exhausting really is the perfect word. How could I sign up for year 4 of that? Can't do it. Cause it is dumb to be whiny about it when fundamentally I think it's a difference of opinion. There are plenty of people who want it there, and it's clearly staying. Long past time, I just say, yeah, this isn't what I find fun if it feels manipulative, so I'll do something else. It's funny, looking back on the absolute blast I had as a kid with Modern Warfare 2, you know, the real one, I know that it was, in many ways, a broken mess, where everything was OP and big glitches went unpatched for months, which I imagine was only tolerable because news spread slower back then with fewer people terminally online. But fair to say that it brought a lot of noobs into the franchise. You could say it catered more towards attracting a casual audience, which left many COD 4 fans frustrated. An argument could be made that they're just trying to scoop up a new generation of players again, and I'm just on the other side of it this time around. There's a new generation of people who will look back and love a game I hated. But I can't really accept that they're the same thing. As far as strategies to get noobs in the door to enjoy trying out a game, I prefer stuff like goofy OP loadouts and strategies, or the care package that can give you a random chance at using the high streaks. All those things that even the playing field a bit and allow lower skill players to find success, because that's what COD's always been. Definitely prefer that over a restrictive, silent hand controlling your success. Anyway, never actually seen people make that comparison, just a side thought. So that would be the main thing on the gameplay side, certainly not everything, and not even going to bother getting into the usual array of bugs that reemerge every year, needing to tolerate that every time, half the game not tracking properly and such. Which brings us to the progression side, which has been my big focus for a long time. Really don't need to rehash all those complaints, I'm not going to come at you with a list. If you've been around, you know. I guess the core of it now is the seasonal stuff, all the resetting, just feels so hollow. I don't care. The shell of the challenge experience also compounds with how central the store is. Like the game is a shallow facade, and it all just revolves around you buying bundles. I know cosmetic stores are standard fare for modern service games, and yet CODS manages to put me off so much more. I play other games with cosmetic stores, and they just don't bother me. Like, sure, you can pick something up, enjoy. I'm not interested personally, but it doesn't offend me. I mean, yeah, it'd be more fun if everything was earned from some kind of aspirational content, but as long as there's a good balance of cool things to earn, or maybe even that you can earn the same items that you can buy just by playing the game enough, like earning a secondary currency. COD felt like it went really far into the paid-only bundle stuff. Again, not like they're the only one, but it could not be more boring to me. I find it so funny how often I see them put together some super hype trailer marketing, they got some epic music going, and it's just an ad for a skin. Not a game mode or new content, just a bundle for you to pay for. And there are people who see that and get hyped to buy yet another skin. You do you, I guess. Just so strange and off-putting to me. I guess because of how much effort and focus it feels like is being put into that side of the game that means nothing to me. The Mastery camo is the one aspirational thing left mostly intact, but that's not been much of a positive experience lately either. I think especially as the game seems to cater more and more towards that as a core engagement thing. In many ways it gets worse and feels dumber and more pointless to be going for. I think what I used to find fun about it was it being a side challenge for the extra dedicated to shoot for, on top of several other things, or just on top of the fun you're having with the game. Haha, fun. In recent years, there's been the weird shipment meta thing, and I know I talked about really liking in COD World War II when they introduced permanent shipment late in the life cycle for catch-up and for anyone still left who wanted the quick grind. I like the slow power creep of grind speed over the year. And since it stayed there, never leaving, I felt like I could still enjoy some war mode without feeling like I needed to FOMO into shipment whenever it was there. It helped that the gameplay and spawns and flow back then still felt somewhat logical. Then I remember hating the Modern Warfare shoot the ship FOMO, where I couldn't stand to play the regular maps when it wasn't around, and just wishing they would leave Shoot House in the game so I could freely play that and tolerate the gameplay. Even though small map spawns were a disaster, I guess it just helped get things over with faster. And I guess that says something about my enjoyment of tactical Piccadilly Azir Cave gameplay. Then Vanguard's permanent shipment was another level of disaster, adding it very quickly, and gameplay-wise, pure nonsense, starting out feeling the same as 2019, and then adding the worst grenades ever conceived in Season 1. I can't believe those trash spawns came back in Vanguard in the same state. It's truly inexcusable to me. I can play 12-player free-for-all on a small, fan-modded map that wasn't even a part of a 13-year-old game, and spawn on top of enemies less egregiously than a TDM or DOM in those newer games. It shouldn't be that hard in a team game compared to FFA. Literal flawed logic that clearly didn't prioritize that as a problem. I don't get it. I mean, I've dedicated plenty of time to ranting about the unreal spawns in those couple recent games, and how the tiny maps just shine a spotlight on them for obvious reasons, because shipment has been fine in the past, the map can work, but we won't get into that again, holy moly. And on a high level, it does make the whole idea of a camo grind totally pointless. It's purely about the time that you're willing to suffer in the meat grinder. It's no longer a fun side challenge for the dedicated who want to experiment with every gun and master everything. Instead, it's feeling more like just the only thing to do, so more of an expectation, the only aspirational goal left that they've tailored the game around. I don't know, maybe that doesn't make much sense. Of course, there are bound to be more casual players who don't think this way at all, but it just feels like the whole multiplayer is buy this trash so you can grind levels and get the camo to take over to Warzone. Guess I could mention Warzone. I mean, I clearly enjoyed the launch of that. Massively saved Modern Warfare's popularity at the time, at least in online circles. I think a lot of people forget that and think Modern Warfare launched in an amazingly beloved state. But like anything, I guess, it just got old for me. It's only really fun with friends, and the people who wanted to run it dropped off, myself included. I think BRs naturally get more and more competitive over their lifespans as well, as people drop out. Eventually, I just didn't care enough to keep up. I'm comically ignorant on current Warzone news. I only heard something about mobile and having bots, which is very funny. I'm sure there are plenty of good things on the way. Just haven't felt like getting back into a BR. Shifting gears a bit, I think in several videos now I've said how I do know this next game will be a very popular one, yet I still feel I can't go on with normal coverage. I guess to dive into that more, yeah, if we're talking numbers, treating this like a business, like an adult, obviously I should maybe just go hard and cover what's going to be a big game. But in order to make something like a challenge guide, or to rant about XP, as so many people seem to love, even if that's just a meme, I need to care, at least a little, about actually getting the challenge, or XP, otherwise it's going to be basic and bad. So it's tough to imagine faking it that hard, plus it just feels dumb to post something that I'm not interested in. I know in reality it's dumb to think that way when I could just do what the majority may want to see, as opposed to just doing what I want to see. Ah yes, the secret to a successful business, kids. Don't do market research and fill a niche, you should just do what you like. Well, I mean, at the same time, every year I see the comments grow and grow of, I don't play this anymore, but I still enjoy watching. Making it feel like, well, who am I doing this for? I guess plenty of people are really not into the new games either. Well, mainly, I guess it's that as long as I'm making what I like, it's easy to stand by it. Because, hey, I like it. It's what I felt like doing. It was fun. I made this for the other people like me. Even if that isn't many people. But if I don't even like it, then I would agree with anyone else saying that they don't like it, which is kind of rough. Just chasing trends or guessing at what people want to see. I'm explaining this terribly. Who cares? Basically, I'd say as frustrations with the game we're building, I became more and more unsure what I was even doing with the channel, because it's always been more of a hobby or creative outlet, and despite being a Z-list literal nobody, well, there's some point where you're not the underdog anymore, so random people will hate you just because you deserve to be taken down a peg, or you're more of a public figure than a person, so you shouldn't care what people think, which, I know, not a big deal, and just the way it works. If you want to make this thing happen, then who cares? I do get where it comes from, but I guess it gave me pause to think, what am I actually doing here? Because it's really not my personality to like tons of attention. There's no non-pretentious way to say the whole I don't like fame thing, like shut up. But to me, I just wanted to share a tip or whatever, or something I thought was funny. Not like I tricked and cheated my way to the top. But I guess it's hard to argue that running a YouTube channel isn't asking for attention. And sure, I like putting something out that people enjoy or say was helpful. Obviously, I think most people like acknowledgement, but any level of fame scares me. So really, what is my end goal then if it's just for fun? And in some ways, bigger channel is more stress. And I don't know the answer. Money would be great, for sure. I need money. But it's not worth selling my soul to Activision. A better option would be to finally stop ignoring every sponsor offer. I could see doing that. Would still have to be selective though, I hate all the cliches. Anyway, I guess not knowing what the goal really was led to my even worse upload schedule than normal, finally taking a step back. Shockingly, there is more to life than making Call of Duty videos. It's very weird to think about how much of my life, like a stretch of 10 years, I was practically living video to video. Of course, I was going to school and had other hobbies, but this felt like the core of it all. When one was done, I had the next one in my head. This is what I'm gonna do, time to start working towards it. I always wondered when the day would come where I didn't have a list of what's up next. And then it finally happened. I ran out of COD tips and thoughts. But it's about time. So I've just been touching some grass, doing other things, other work, but still coming back now and then to spend a solid week or two putting together those long-form playthroughs. That is fun. I knew I'd at least go through every COD game eventually, and I'm sure there are more things like that I could keep doing, or other side projects if inspiration strikes. Well, whatever. Fair to say there's a bunch of things at the same time, like some totally natural franchise burnout, feeling like I've done all these things before, I don't need to do them again. Add on a growing distaste for the direction of the gameplay and progression sides of the game, which makes it tough to make positive videos. I would love to keep it all wholesome and helpful, but can't without feeling like I'm brushing my complaints under the rug, which doesn't feel honest. And wrap it all up in not enjoying playing the YouTube game just for numbers, influence, or rat race, gross. So altogether, the perfect storm of feeling like the same type of coverage cycle can't go on. I maybe went on a few years too many. I mean, I guess it made sense to keep going until it felt certain, but I'm guessing it's not normal to have reached a level of disgust when I see the game mentioned, or practically bitterness, like thinking, how can you still be into this after how it's been going? Can't you predict all the things that are gonna go wrong at this point? I don't go around saying that to people because I know it's a dumb thought. People enjoy different things about the game, and I don't want to be the butthole who ruins your excitement. Maybe it's partly because of what the original Modern Warfare series meant to me. And, at least the original Modern Warfare is more frequently called COD 4. But now with this, this is so childish, I don't like that I can't easily search for actual Modern Warfare 2 anymore. It's been overwritten by the new game, replaced, gone. If I want to see some Modern Warfare 2 nostalgia or get some info about it, I'm gonna have to sift through mounds of trash articles on the new game, add in some more search terms with a -II or filter by date. They really couldn't turn their game around without reusing the Modern Warfare name. Modern Warfare 2, huh? Real creative. Yeah, maybe I went on too long. I see Modern Warfare advertising now. I see the characters I used to like being used to sell this thing. Yuck. Disgusting. Okay, enough of that. Got a little story time. I mean, hey, I don't do COD thoughts much at all anymore. May as well make it a good long one for you. I think there was a turning point that woke me up. I remember a comment on, I think, the Vanguard camo tip thing, or maybe the last one where I finished the camo. It was to the effect of, why the hell would you bother with this? Do you seriously still care to earn this trash camo every year just to stop playing after? And I guess it got to me, because it's just right. And that's the stuff that gets to you. No, I really don't want to waste my life on unfulfilling trash like that. In that specific case, I would say I went for the Vanguard camo only because I wanted to end it on a more symbolic note than just drifting away from the game that early. If I at least stuck it out, I would feel like I paid my dues and I was done. It was wrapped up neatly. I knew I didn't care about the camo itself. Maybe that was a dumb reason, but it felt like it gave that video a funnier purpose, like I was allowed to say I was done. But do I ever want to do that again? I really don't think so. I think that helped solidify my perspective. I think I finally don't want to grind pointless things.
You lost it, sir.
Yeah, alright, finally got there. I think the games I want to play now would be either to experience something new, or are more just about fun with friends. That seems like a better end game. I can still find a little grind satisfying, it's very chill. It's fun to maybe put in some time to prepare for a team activity. But yeah, solo grind, number go up, COD camo, bit of a tool for this moment, I guess. And it's fair to say I would have gotten tired of COD grind much sooner if not for the videos. They've always felt like the true purpose for me. Something a bit more fulfilling than just getting the camo is the helping others and the community and creative aspects. But even with that as the main justification, I think I've finally done it too many times. I think it's a common story, but I originally got into this hobby thinking it'd be cool to be a peer of some of the people I watched and looked up to back in the day, that OG COD scene. And I got to meet and get to know some of those people, played together for years. That was cool. Well, that motivation's long gone. I stopped being interested in watching COD content long ago, and most of what I see now, I'm not the target audience. I can't say I want to consider myself a part of the COD community. COD negativity has always been impressive. And I know there's always a negative side for any game community. People gonna complain. And of course there's always more from the career players, people who burn themselves out on just that one game and expect more from it than is reasonable. But man, COD negativity can feel like another level. It doesn't feel like there's as much of a counterbalance of wholesome positivity that I feel in other communities, even big ones. Everyone everywhere knows to say COD bad. It's like the lowest hanging fruit game. Or maybe I just see it differently now that I agree with the hate side more, which is why I removed myself from covering the game instead of staying any longer to be a bitch about it. It's funny, I've never had a reason to try muting words on Twitter before. Not that I'm on there much at all anyway, trash site, goddamn. I swear I keep telling it to do the latest tweets, but it keeps going back to whatever it is where every other one is some suggested garbage. I'm not interested, only show what I follow, goddamn. I already practically follow nothing but animal picture accounts at this point to dilute the feed. And here's another Twitter pro tip, assuming you can't just delete it or never use it on desktop. I used browser tools to block the HTML that makes up the trending tab thing, so I never have to see the dumb issue of the day that people are making up to be mad about, get baited into clicking it to read everyone's takes that they felt compelled to share. Jesus, Twitter. Where was I? Yeah, never muted words until shortly after wrapping up with Vanguard. Muted everything to do with COD and Modern Warfare. I just didn't want to see it. I'm sorry if that meant I didn't see a couple things I was tagged in, but I just got tired of how much Twitter pushed it on me and how so many people changed so quickly, going from complete exasperation with COD back to hype. This is gonna be the best game ever. You know, the cliche cycle we all love continues. And all around, I see people starting to care again, asking if I'm hyped yet, gonna pre-order it. I'm sorry, but that feels like a betrayal of everything I've been saying for years. At a certain point, I have to mean what I say, even if it is on the popular year. There's just nothing they can do to get me to care, to buy blind. Been frustrated by the design philosophy and had too many false promises when it comes to the side modes. If they manage to prove it's worth getting, I can pick it up down the road. I mean, recently they've all been half price like a month after launch to get more people in the door of the store. Unless this one does so well to not warrant that, I don't know. Okay, this has been a lot of weird rambling, but what exactly is the plan for Modern Warfare II? In case you care about that, cause I guess I still haven't been overly specific with no rage-filled I quit COD forever type thing. Well, yeah, cause I know there's a chance I someday do single-player stuff, and even though I have zero or more like negative hype, I could see someday checking out the side mode content, but this time, I'll just have to see about that later on. No pre-order, no rush. This is apparently their 2-year cycle game now, right? Sounds good. Maybe it'll be a solid playable game in year 2 after all the live iteration. Also, I remember the rumors around that extraction mode thing a long time ago. I assume it is still called DMZ. That was such old news. I love how completely ignorant I am. Literally not seen anything about the game. Watched no streams, no gameplay. I could have the best blind reaction to this game. Anyway, an extraction thing, it's never been my genre exactly. I know I've talked about taking some aspects from Tarkov in the past, but I kind of just like the looting and hideout elements. I didn't love the sound of the game as a whole, obviously, because I don't play it. I'd say my favorite thing to waste time in would be co-op PvE that can get very challenging and gives a reason for you to invest some time in building up your account in some way. Not so much a slow pace, tactical extraction or BR type thing, but anything involving strong teamwork I think can be very fun. What if I loved it? That would be awkward. From the little I've heard, I thought DMZ was maybe going to be part of the free stuff alongside Warzone, maybe? If true, I wouldn't have to be invested to try some of that. Could see doing that. If there were anything I were going to check out with some friends, that sounds like it. Can't help but expect it to be on the bear side at launch, but what do I know? Maybe they've talked about it a ton. I also heard some people tell me there was a Spec Ops again as well, but you're out of your mind if you think I care to have any expectations for that. Maybe next year, when it's debugged and there's more than one mission, I could try those. I'm sorry, it's very cathartic to be comically negative. There's someone out there super mad at me. It's supposed to be funny. You don't have to take me seriously, you know. The joke is that I'm ignorant by choice. And if you like the game, have fun. I hope you have a good time. In reality, I'd expect they stick the landing better than last time, because it'd be hard not to. But whatever. They'll have to prove it. No pre-order is bottom line. I was hearing about some of the usual frustrations from the beta as things creep in through my Discord or other friends, but other people enjoyed it, which is typical, I guess, some of both. You know what, there is one positive, ending it on a big positive here. It came back to Steam. No more Locked to Battle.net for PC, which is great. So I could get it someday with fake Steam money from sticker investing instead of real money. Well, the main takeaway here is I unfortunately have less interest than ever before. Sick of the nonsense, don't care to pre-order, not watching or covering the news. When they drop a trailer or a beta, I no longer feel the same sense of urgency to go cover it. Like, the beta came and went. Sorry, I didn't play it. I'm not going to have any revolutionary beta thoughts. Just copy and paste the last one. Something will be buggy, something will be frustrating. This issue is still the same as last time, but they'll get some credit for a couple quick fixes and listening to the community vaguely hint at doing some things that people want. Maybe not deliver, but who cares? Everyone will have forgotten. This and that look good, but who knows what the final game will be like. Guess we'll have to wait and see. There's your beta review. Yeah, sorry, no rushing to cover news. I was always bad at that anyway, not my thing. I hate the feeling of rushing to not be too late to cover something, because a dozen channels are going to have good quality coverage up in like an hour. I have to assume they're gifted speakers and can just one take an entertaining and informative reaction and fire it over to the editor. Well, I gotta plan stuff out, I gotta obsessively edit. I'm not fast. And in the end, it's not like it's even a better video at getting the info across. It's a day of panicky work to not even be proud of the product at the end. Some partially rushed news coverage that'll be irrelevant a couple days later. And the same goes for any other game, to be clear. Like, you could maybe tell I've been playing some Destiny now and then, right? Not a ton right now, I guess, but I do like that universe, love the endgame co-op stuff. Made a little clan with the cool people who joined the Discord. You could join too. Hop in, it's a great time. But it's not like I'm going to start covering that game in the same way I did COD, start talking about news and updates and the best guns to go get. That would be a very weird jump, and it doesn't interest me either. That niche is plenty filled already. So no more of that type of rushed coverage, and I don't currently see myself doing much of anything with a new COD multiplayer. Commenter Guy is right. I see no real purpose in it. I don't want to spend my life getting another camo I never intend to use, because I don't think I'll have any revolutionary tips for you. I know it's always something people will want to hear, especially people who are newer to the franchise, or are just excited about the game and want to hear what anyone has to say about it, but I'm sorry, like I was kind of saying before, for me to give good advice, I would have to actually be getting the camo and be caring about it myself. That's where any advice of value comes from experience. Aside from that, I'd just be spitting all the old points back out at you. Here are the pros and cons of hardcore mode. This attachment is good for headshots, if you didn't notice that one. Here's a good long shot spot. And I would probably get sucked into complaining about pointless things again, which is lame. So, I think that's good enough. I'm still me, I still play games, still have quite the history with COD. Too much of one, you could say. But for all those reasons, I finally have to break out of the standard coverage cycle. Imagine giving thoughts about another roadmap full of skins or another predictable drama. Ooh, give me some taxes to do so I can stay awake. Again, I'm not swearing off the games or anything, could probably check out the single player and co-op content at some point, or any of that free-to-play side stuff as a way to try it out. But I can't cover the same old opinions, issues, and tips every year. If you've been enjoying any of the checking out the old CODs I've been doing some of, or the occasional random playthrough, I love you. I appreciate you. There can definitely be more of that. Really tons of wholesome comments on those things. Clearly people who are passionate about those games. It's fun to see that stuff. If you're only here for multiplayer challenge guides or to have me tell you how to think about COD, wake up, new opinions just dropped. Well, I still love you, and I'm thankful for the time we shared. I'm sorry that I may not be doing exactly that anymore. Maybe I could still make a spreadsheet if you want, but anyone could adapt those old templates pretty easily. And I guess my heart wouldn't be in it if I weren't gonna use it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.